The Canadian Real Estate Association recently released a new housing market forecast, and Nova Scotia real estate is expected to outperform both Ontario and British Columbia in 2024 and 2025 in both prices and in the number of sales. There's been a lot of doom and gloom in the media, in the comment section, and online, but the truth is, if you look at most housing market forecasts for Canada, the East Coast forecasts are looking pretty bright for the future, and we're expected to see steady growth over the next coming years. Now, just before I get into some of the details of this forecast, if you're new here, my name is Andrew Stevens, and I've been a realtor in Halifax for 10 years. If you want to be educated on the Nova Scotia real estate market, then you're in the right place. So hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to book a call or meet with me to chat about real estate, or if you're thinking about making a move in the Halifax-Dartmouth area, you can reach out to me anytime through the Calendly link below. So again, this is from the Canadian Real Estate Association, and they released quarterly forecasts for the Canadian housing market, and this one was the most recent one that was released on July 12th. So let's start it off by talking about the number of sales. In 2024, Nova Scotia is expected to see 8.2% increase, and this puts us at the highest forecasted sales growth in Atlantic Canada, and it's above the national average of 6%. We're also forecasted for a larger sales growth ahead of some of the major markets like Ontario at 2.2%, British Columbia at 2.4%, and we're only slightly behind Alberta at 9.1%. Looking ahead to 2025, we're expected to see a sales growth of 11% in Nova Scotia, which is almost double the national average in Canada of 6.2%. And at 11%, we're not only the highest forecasted growth in Atlantic Canada for 2025, but we're the highest forecasted growth for sales in 2025 in the entire country, putting us ahead of major markets like Ontario at 7.3%, BC at 10.3%, Quebec at 7.1%, and Alberta at 0.6%. And in terms of where we're at currently, at the midway point of the year in Nova Scotia, our sales were up 3.7%. So we are a little behind what this forecast is for 2024. However, with the rates falling and the consumer confidence rising, I could see us having a pretty big second half to 2024. So we may make up some ground in this, and we may actually catch this forecasted growth of 8.2%. Now, moving on to price, we're expected to see a 4.9% increase in 2024, and this is ahead of the national average of 2.5%. But in the price category, we are slightly behind the forecast of 6% in New Brunswick for Atlantic Canada, which isn't a huge shock as their prices are behind ours and they're growing at a rapid pace, just like we are in Nova Scotia. The 4.9% forecast is higher than both the major markets of Ontario at 0.7% and BC at 4.4%. Now, looking ahead to 2025, we're forecasted to see a price growth of 4%, which is just slightly lower than the national average at 5%, but we're still slightly higher than Ontario at 3.9%, and BC at 3.7%. And in terms of the Atlantic provinces, we're sitting only behind Newfoundland at 4.4%. And in terms of this price forecast, we're tracking pretty accurately. Right now, at the midway point of the year in Nova Scotia, we're up 5.5% year over year. And this is pretty in line with what my projection would be. I'm expecting the next few years in Nova Scotia to have price increases of somewhere between 4 and 6%, which brings us more in line with what we've been seeing historical as the average since 1980. Which will be welcome news to homeowners as their assets will continue to rise in value. But for the people trying to get into the market, that might not be great news. But the truth is, I'd rather see 4 to 6% year over year than some of the double-digit increases that we've been seeing over the last few years during the COVID pandemic. So even with all the doom and gloom online and in the media and in the comment sections, Atlantic Canada is still clicking along kind of like we always do. And in terms of the CREA forecast and other forecasts that I've been looking at, the Atlantic provinces are expected to remain strong over the next few years, which again will be welcome news to homeowners who are already in the real estate market, but not so welcome news to those trying to get into the market, especially for those first-time home buyers. Now, if you're still here watching, obviously you have some interest in this topic, and I'm curious to hear what you think. Are you on the same page as this CREA forecast, or do you think it's going to be lower or higher than these projections? projections? If so, comment below what you think. And if you get any value out of this video, all I ask is that you hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my future content. And that'll help push this out to more people like you who may be interested in being educated about the Nova Scotia and Halifax real estate markets. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support and have a great day.